Hello, and welcome to Fusion Writing, where building character meets creating structure. This is Tuesday, our map day, and we get to dive deeply into our subject matter for the day. Oh boy, I can't wait to hear what Victoria has to tell us. Victoria?
Okay, guys, this is it. We're diving into the deep end on a whole new concept, but I think in the context of the things that we've already talked about over these many months of sessions, I think this is going to add something very valuable to your writer's toolkit. So, narrative distance, what does that even mean? Well, sometimes it's interchangeable with psychic distance. It's a concept that was articulated extremely well by one of my beloved teachers, John Gardner, who wrote The Art of Fiction. Now, in Art of Fiction, he dives into what does it mean to show the distance that a character has from the narrator and what those two things have as distance or space between themselves and the reader. Very interesting. I had never really considered what it looks like when you have a character and a potential narrator and what their relationship is to the reader in terms of space. So let's break that down. In the first case, we've got psychic distance. That's just what it sounds like. It's how far is the internal story, the internal machinations, what's going on inside your character, how far is that from the reader? Well, in some cases, maybe the narrator and the main character feel like they're the same person. Obviously, if your character is telling their story in the first person, I did this, I saw that, your reader is going to experience that story as if they are that main character. So the way that you deploy that as the writer is you have to ask yourself when you're planning your story, how do I want my reader to experience this? Do I want them to identify so closely with this character that they experience and react to the story as if they were that character? There are some stories that simply must be told that way. The reader has to be dropped right in, very close to experience things as if they are that character. So that's one example of a very close distance between character and reader. Well, maybe some of the time the reader experiences that story as a close story, and other times they're moved out or further away from that character. So that's a way that as the writer, you're manipulating the distance that the reader feels from that character. One way simply that you might do that is to have another character commenting about the main character. You know, I can't believe that Sally, she is so into herself, she never even notices the rest of us. You're making a comment to your reader about that character by talking with another character about them. So you're simply separating that reader a little bit and giving them a lens on that character that maybe they identified so closely with, but now there's somebody over here throwing rocks at that person. Your reader's going to feel that. It's another way that you're connecting with them by manipulating that sense of distance. See how that works? So that's using a little bit of space by inserting another character, giving a commentary. So it makes your reader go, well, wait a minute, I identify with Sally. That's not very nice to talk about her like that. So you're getting that response from your reader. See? Okay, so that's one example of psychic distance. Now, what about spatial distance? Well, it's the same thing. Maybe your reader gets zoomed right in close to what is Sally feeling? What is she doing? How is she reacting? It's very close, tight in. You feel her feelings, you feel the sweat running on her brow, you feel the chaos and the disorder that she's thinking because she's anxious. You're just dropped right in close. Well, the alternative is you're taken further away. You're given some distance from what she's feeling. You're using your words as the writer to describe things from a distance away from her. Rather than the reader feeling the sweat and feeling the anxiety, the reader is allowed to see it from further back. So almost like a camera would pull away, you're pulling away as the writer, and you're giving the reader a little breathing room to have some space from being inside that character's head. The third one is simply called temporal. It's playing with time. This one can be super fun if you're writing a non-linear narrative. So for example, you've got two kinds of time, and I have to point my finger at Miss Deb Hart for eloquently describing this for us. You've got the chronos and you've got the kairos. Chronos is sequential. It's just quantitative time as it happens in a line, right? It's just this happened, this happened, this happened. It's very linear. Then you've got kairos. It's not linear. Maybe you're using flashbacks. You're using things fluctuating in time. You're manipulating that temporal distance to perhaps disorient your reader or reveal something and then change the timeline and hide something. It's another way of manipulating your narrative distance. So those are 3 ways that you can look at how to tell your story: by psychically using the distance in the actual space, how far your reader is apart from your character, or by using time. Are we telling a linear straightforward story, or are we manipulating that in some way that disorients or reveals things to the reader? So keep those in your back pocket, because as we go forward into the next sessions, we're going to talk about some very specific ways of what thing uses to tell you these 3 different points of view. So that's all I've got for you today. It's a bunch, but busy thinking about your story in terms of narrative distance until we circle back again. Kathleen?
Oh boy, how fascinating. What an interesting concept. I've seen this happen in stories, but I hadn't ever put my finger on it or taken the time to become aware of those kinds of distances. I love it. Well, I'm going to be continuing to talk about character traits because that's what I do. I talk about character traits. We're going to be talking about a new one this month, which is courtesy. Last month we had affability. And now we're going to say, courtesy, affability, what's the difference? I'll give you a distance, very, very simply and very succinctly. You're going to have to play with it after we talk about how you tell them apart. But let me give you a real clear example. You go into a very, very fine restaurant. Your boss is taking you to lunch for your birthday. You don't even know if you're dressed exactly properly because it's really upscale compared to what you and your husband would go to. So you walk in and you're a little bit timid, and there's a very snooty waiter. Madame, may I show you to your seat? Pulls out the chair. You sit down in the chair, and the napkin comes out and it's on your lap. Affable? Whoa, not that guy. He is not an affable character. Is he courteous? Oh, yes. He's a picture of courtesy. Madame, may I get your chair? May I get your napkin? He defines courtesy. But you probably didn't get enough training for that kind of courtesy. And why? How come there's 3 spoons and 4 forks? So that's in a real quick nutshell, the difference that will show you that there is indeed a difference between courtesy and affability. Well, why don't I give you another example of the difference between courtesy and affability? You've got a guy who's just a sincere fellow, and he just comes from out of nowhere, but he's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. You come up to him, he's all smiles. How you doing? How you doing? But you walk in the door, he opens the door, lets himself in, and there you are standing there with the door winging into your face. What? Huh? Didn't anybody teach you any manners? How could you be such a nice guy and not have a drop of courtesy? Okay, so now we know that affability and courtesy are really actually 2 different things. Let's go a little bit past these micro vignettes and talk about, okay, let's put our thinking caps on a little bit and talk about, well, what do we really mean? When we say affability, we said affability was the face that you put on to meet the world. What does that mean? It's the expression you put on your face. It's how you act towards the world, to anybody out there. You're going down the hall at work. You're walking down the sidewalk in the city. There you are, and there's the world. You're presenting yourself in an open and cheerful and approachable way. Not to anybody in particular, just to the world as a whole. That's affability to review. And now courtesy, however, courtesy is very much a one-on-one thing. It might be just a momentary encounter of someone that you'll never see again. Oh, excuse me. Oh, can I get the door for you? Oh, let me hold the elevator door. It's just the kind of polite way that people treat each other. It's the way we would treat complete strangers. Hopefully, it's the way we treat one another in the workplace where we know one another better. Hopefully, it's the way we treat one another in our homes. Kids, treat each other courteously. But the whole point of it, the matter is, the concept of courtesy is being nice when you're face to face with one particular person. It's an individual encounter. So it's not you and the world, it's two people together. Are they being just normally nice to one another? Of course, everything has its opposite. And just as a person who goes through life with a snarly disposition, they can also treat people snarly. Good morning. Who told you it was going to be any good? So there's discourtesy for you right there. Or somebody who goes out of the way, sees you coming, and does he hold the elevator? Nuh-uh, he pushes the button to close the door. I don't want to wait for you. So we can have discourtesy just as much as you can have courtesy. So bear those thoughts in mind, and that's what we're going to do with this part of the exploration of our character trait of courtesy. We're going to look for it in the real world. We're going to remember it in our experiences. We're going to get in touch with how it makes us feel. Now, how does it make it? It's easy to think about experiences that we've had in our past life where we have been the recipients either of courtesy or discourtesy. Have we ever been waiting for our turn in line and someone just goes right past us and takes the next person? Or somebody, you're talking to somebody and you're having a pleasant conversation, and somebody that they know shows up and they just turn their back on you and walk away and go talk to the other person? That's very discourteous. How did that feel? Or were you ever not quite sure of yourself coming into a situation where you didn't know where the place, you didn't know your way around, you were maybe a little bit on edge, and someone went out of their way to be courteous? And how did that make you feel? So that's what we're exploring in this session. We're just simply going to explore those feelings of courtesy and how courtesy differs from affability. And if you want to do some writing and come on over to Fusion Writing, you can do that. And I'll put that up in just a bit. But right now, I'd like to know if you have anything to add, Victoria.
Oh my gosh, I don't think so. I mean, this is just fantastic. I think we're on to another great week of material, especially because I'm already seeing ways that courtesy can be used as a way to manipulate psychic distance, but I'm not going to say anything because I want to see how this evolves when we get over to our writing week, and then we can talk about it. But I'm already seeing a way that these can combine fantastically to really move that reader through the story in an interesting way. So I can't wait to see where we're headed, but wherever it is, it's going to be awesome. So come back next time. Hey, where can people find us?
All right. You can find us over in LiLLiPub.org. That's where we hang out when we're not in YouTube land. And we have a session every Saturday where you can post your writing to a shared file and we'll workshop it with you. You can workshop the writing of other people. It's a really terrific resource for you as a writer. If you can imagine sitting in on a Zoom call with our own Miss Victoria Crowder, the anti-novelist herself, and it's only $8 a month. There's just nothing like it in terms of value on the internet. So come on over to LiLLiPub and join us. We'll see you then. Okay. Bye-bye.